It's a massive void of blackness and space. So much space. It's tough being a space jock. Traveling this heartless void with only yourself to trust. But I can handle it. The space jock captain of the ship Broad Shoulders, because I carry the weight of the galaxy on my shoulders, damn it! Drummed out of the academy for being what? The best damn space pilot in its history? And probably the lies. But mainly for being too damn good for those bureaucratic pencil pushers in the academy. They hadn't seen skill like mine in, well, forever really. Yep, I'm one of a kind. I had the experience. Well, I said I had 15 years of experience, but 1 or 15 years, it's all the same when you're this good. I mean, just because I couldn't tell the difference between a airlock and a door, somehow this means I'm suddenly responsible? I didn't know. Neither did little Kevin, that wide-eyed youthful space jock. First year in the academy. He trusted me, damn it! And these goddamn robots just put it all on me. What made him push that button? Was it the immense crushing weight of a galaxy that he was but a tiny speck of, bewildered by the sheer size of the universe and the hopeless nature of his incomparable insignificance? Or was it because I told him to press it? We'll never know. I want to tell his parents he went out like a hero, like a fighter. Well, fighting me, he just couldn't let go of my spacesuit, till I kicked him off it. They accused me of murder. Ha! How laughable. Me, a murderer. The best damn space jock in the Gemini sector. I think not. So that's when I stole the Broad Shoulders, became a freelance pilot, and the best damn space jock in the sector. They may say I'm a criminal, a wanted man, but they just don't understand. I'm the best damn hope this topsy-turvy galaxy has.
Hello everybody and welcome to Critical Rocket, and we're looking at a different game. We're looking at Starpoint Gemini Warlords today. It's currently an early access game that's available on Steam from developer LGM Games, Little Green Man Games. This is the third title in a series of games under the Starpoint Gemini sort of universe, and basically this is a open world sort of do your own thing space game. It's pretty cool. Basically, Starpoint Gemini Warlords has a heavy element on doing your own sort of thing, whether you want to be a trader, bounty hunter, smuggler, pirate, fleet admiral, explorer. You be a freelancer in any kind of respect that you want within the game system, salvaging and mining and all those things. You can run around and do that right off the bat, once you get past the basic tutorial in the current early access version that this video is based on. And you can pretty much go off and do what you want then, gaining experience and accruing credits and basically doing bits and pieces like that. The main premise of the game is that, with it being open world, you have the option of sort of going around the conquering sort of aspect, which is a big element of the game, hence it's called Warlords. And the idea is that your faction, the Solari Concord, are in sort of the bottom sort of right area of the map, and you basically just go out and start kicking ass and taking over the galaxy, or well, the sector. It's pretty cool. It's very simple the way it's all laid out, with a map screen that's divided into multiple hexes. Hexes representing different parts of different territories owned by numerous factions that you can test the territory with. And you can build a fleet of different ships that you develop on your main base, and which I think is called Concordia. And the main base is a modular system that can be upgraded over time. You can do this by gathering materials, by having facilities built in the sectors of space that you control, things that will mine precious ores and minerals and extracting gases, and also salvaging ships and other areas for valuable metals. And once you have enough of those, you can start building extra ships for your fleet. The fleet vessels are all AI controlled, and you can give them rudimentary commands. Currently in the early access, I don't know if that'll expand. The feature set will increase as the game gets closer to launch. But you'll be able to give them patrol commands, so you can send your fleets around your control sectors, and they'll engage targets, and you can tell them to protect sectors. And more importantly, you can tell them to attack sectors as well. So while you're off doing whatever you want to do at the time, you can build a fleet, send them over to a location, and basically wreck some faces. And then you can see what happens, or you can tell your fleet to follow you, and then you've basically got like a gang of ships following you around as you just blow shit out stuff. They can cover you while you're doing dangerous missions and gear like that. Different like freelance missions that include things like salvaging for different interested parties, mining, installation, defense, and attack. You can go basically on hit missions, so you go kill certain pirates or people who may be traitors to your faction. You can do things like the time delivery runs, taking important cargo to and fro. And you can land on planets as well as being able to land on stations. And you can also capture planets, which is one of the more recent updates that this video version was based on. Or the ability to be able to capture an entire planetary area that will grant you a new landing zone and thus more missions and more trade opportunities, because the more trade points you have available to you, the more money you can quickly make off doing cargo runs back and forth. What I was playing, for me personally, I was focusing big on ship captures, which is a really cool element. I like it because it's very simple. Basically, at a later stage you can upgrade your troops. If you upgrade your Concordia station by adding like different research modules and stuff, which will improve the rate you gather materials and allow more ships to be built, different classes and stuff, you'll be able to have like a troop training facility, and with that you'll have better troops when they board enemy ships. And that's literally, you just click the ship that you want to capture, middle mouse opens up like a radial menu, and then you can go in and tell them to board the ship, and then the little mini game starts. There's some footages in the bottom left, and basically you just tell them to fight their way through the ship, and they can go into like the cargo bay and weapons, shields, auxiliary systems, and eventually they'll get to the bridge, and then you can attempt to capture. But the cost is men. You have like a certain number, and each room costs that number to proceed forward. So if you have a lot left over, you've got a much higher chance of capping, and obviously if you have few, you have a very low chance. It's all based on percentages. So it's a neat aspect, because when you capture a vessel, you can then add it to your fleet. You can reverse engineer it for research points, so then you can build more of that ship if you want later on. You can scrap it, or you can just add it to your garage of vessels to take out. And there's loads of ships in the game, loads of different classes. You start off in the smallest class, which is a gunship. You can go right up to like massive super freighters if you want a bit, like if you're going with the trader sort of line of gameplay, or you can go to things like super carriers and like just spawning waves of fighters to go out and kick ass and stuff. You can just have like huge dreadnoughts and stuff. It's pretty cool. Your fleets can also consist of any of those classes of vessel as well, but there's a cap. There's a certain number of points that your fleet can contain, and obviously bigger ships cost more, so it's more of a balance. Like, do you want a fleet filled with just tons of tiny little ships that can just pepper something bigger to death, or do you just want like a sort of nice mix? But it's cool, and there's loads of different little like ship styles varieties. You've got like super sleek sci-fi looking, like super like high-tech sci-fi ships, and then you've got sort of like big clunky things that look like these low-tech vessels. And you've got sort of things in between that look a bit more sort of Star Wars like. It's nice. It's a really good selection of ships, and I'm sure there are probably a lot of vessels that have been from previous Starpoint games. But still, there is a wealth of choice. There's loads of equipment to choose from. You can also customize your ship. You can paint it, and you can put different decals on there, or decals, as some of us know them. And you can, what else can you do? There's light role-playing elements to the game as well. So you can, at the beginning of the game, you pick a character. And by that I mean you pick an avatar, like a little picture, and you can give it a name, and then you start picking a set of skills. And depending on your choices, you get a different starting set of skills. So like my one was more focused around kind of tech and engineering stuff. So my character can do like a ramming maneuver. They can fire like a shrapnel cannon. They can do like an AoE overload skill that damages everything around them. And then there's like a tractor beam skill that I think causes ships to crash into each other, but I'm not sure if it actually works. at this stage. It looks funny just pulling a load of ships into each other, but yeah, it's a bit weird. You can also get different modules to put on, like repair drones, salvage drones. You can drop mines. You can fire specific missiles to bore into asteroids to mine them. There's a lot of choice, basically. There is a lot that you can do to customize your ship. Put it with different weapons. You want like Babylon 5 style beam lasers and phasers, or do you from Star Trek, or do you want like rapid fire ballistic cannons? Or like a whole mix and match different weapon types. Combat reminds me a lot of one of the older Star Trek series. I think it was called Star Trek Command, but I'm thinking of like the Orion Pirates game and those kind of things. Basically, the way combat works is you have 4 sectors of shielding. So you want to maneuver your ship to absorb damage on strong shields, and you want to turn your ship to use the weapons in those sectors. And so it's a game that's a lot about not so much looking at your target, it's mostly about trying to sort of angle around it so you get your best weapons firing on it, and you want to try and get around them to be able to hit their weak spots. Obviously some ships are more based around broadside, some ships are more based around just direct fire, others are kind of an all-rounder. So as I said, with the choicing open to you, there's a lot of different aspects that you can choose from for how you want to fight. But so far, I've quite enjoyed Gemini Warlords as I've gone through. As an early access title, it's shaping up quite well. One of the really cool aspects about it is that the developers are actively taking all feedback on board. To be honest, an early access game, for me personally, I haven't seen a more active community and developer relationship with them actively sort of responding to each other's posts and giving feedback and coming up with ideas. A lot of elements of this game has, I guess you could argue, has been built by committee, but it's a committee of the fans, so they know what they want. And it's nice to see those things being added as the game's been developing over time. And yeah, things like the capturing mechanics and stuff, I assume, are a request. And yeah, the developers have been very, very cool in putting that into the game. And it's a really nice element. I love it. Who doesn't like capping like enemy ships and adding them to the collections, like Poker Ship? There's a couple of things. If I had to talk about negatives currently, I don't know if this will change over time, and I don't know if maybe I'm just missing graphic settings on this one, but there's a lot of pop-in. When you're just flying or using sublight to move through space, you will see just stations lurch out of the black they'll just phase into existence. It kind of takes you out every now and then. It's not game-breaking by any stretch, but it's just weird when there's like a massive asteroid field or a debris field and it just suddenly starts phasing into existence. There's no load screens, which is cool, so I guess it's, do you want the phasing but have load screens, or do you not want any load screens and whatever. As I said, it's not terrible. The other one for me was getting used to the control scheme, because there are multiple view modes and there's like 2 different flight systems. Like one of them you use WASD to move your key around, your ship around, and you use the mouse to kind of like click ships to do things. And the other one is you can switch to mouse control of your ship, which is obviously much smoother. But then to click a ship that you say you want to board or scan or something like that, you've got to switch to the other mode to select. It takes a bit of getting used to. It's not difficult by any stretch, but it's not immediately intuitive. So I would say that's a slight drawback. If you play it with a controller, Steam does have partial controller support for the game. I haven't tried it myself. It might be easier with a controller. And to be honest, once you get used to it, of playing the game using your different firing sectors and stuff, it's relatively fine. But at first, it's kind of iffy. The only other thing I would criticize is voice acting. Oh my god, the voice acting is bad so far. In the tutorial missions, there's a ship called the Icarus, but for some reason, some of the voice actors are calling it the Icarus, which I found kind of funny. The voice actors are very deadpan. There's not much emotional range going on, depending on what's happening. They just kind of flatly deliver their lines, and the sort of the ship banter during combat when you're just flying around and doing missions is kind of flat as well. And I think it's reused from a previous game. I don't know if that's on the to-do list, but currently it's not that hot. The other thing is, I think there's a story mode that will be sort of interwoven, and I don't think it's 100% there yet. There's parts of it. So if you're looking for a single-player campaign, I don't think it's in just yet, or at least not completely. But the actual open world mechanics has got tons of time to sink into it, to rank up and buy ships. I mean, on the RPG element thing that I was mentioned earlier about creating characters, you can rank up, you can unlock new skills, you can get proficiencies and things like you can be a better engineer, a better trader, getting better prices for goods that you buy and sell, or being able to make boarding actions easier and all that kind of thing. So there's a deep system of skills there to play around with as well. And I would say if you're interested in it, if you don't mind an early access title, it's a pretty good price. I think it's actually cheaper than Starpoint Gemini 2 is, the previous game at the moment. There's early access, $18.99 on Steam. That's in pounds. So what we're talking about, like $20 odd or 19, 20 euros. It's not terrible price. If you like that kind of game, then it's straight up there. I love the open aspect of it. The map is vast. And yeah, you can just quite easily just sink some time in, sit back, just do a few missions, and you know you can easily lose a few hours and just pottering around, doing freelance missions, building up your cash, and getting to that next big ship that you want. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to progress. And I hope you like this. And yeah, have a good one, folks. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.